Good evening, everyone. I am Shashikala Yadav, Principal at Gajera Vidyabhan Uttarakhand, with my co-host Mrs. Shweta Parihar, Principal at Gajera Global School. Welcome you all to this webinar on behalf of Gajera Trust. We are a group of 17 schools, colleges, and an orphanage where more than 50,000 learners are getting education. Gajera Trust mainly emphasizes on bringing advancements in three integral parts of society: education, healthcare, and community services. As we all know that the world is struggling due to this pandemic, and I think nature's imagination is so much greater than human being. She is never gonna let us relax. Today, we have a very eminent personality with us. He is none other than Mr. Snehal Bhai Patel, President of Nature Club Surat. Today, we are going to discuss about biodiversity in practice. The term biodiversity refers to the variety of life on the earth to all its levels, from beings to ecosystem, and can encompass the evolutionary, ecological, and cultural processes that sustains life. Now, I would like to request Mrs. Shweta Parihar to introduce our prominent speaker, Mr. Snehal Patel. Over to you, Shweta ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Shashi ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I feel extremely honored to introduce the speaker of the day, Mr. Snehal Patel. He is founder president of Nature Club Surat since 1984. He is organizing snake rescue trainings for volunteers since 30 years. In his leadership, Nature Club is running many ambitious programs like deer breeding project in Basta National Park Dam, Gavier Wetland Conservation Project in Surat, culture conservation programs in Surat, creating eco farm and urban forest within Surat city. Mr. Snehal Patel is honorary member of Wildlife Advisory Board of Gujarat. He is also life member of Bombay Natural History Society and life member of Indian National Trust for Art and Culture. Apart from this, Mr. Snehal Patel also provides guidance to make eco-friendly houses, for making organic vegetables garden, and also for preparing butterfly gardens. It is our privilege, sir, to have such eminent personality on Gajera Trust platform to share his views on the topic biodiversity in practice, which is the need of the hour. Without taking much time, I request you, sir, to please commence the session. Over to you, Snehal, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I am very happy to be on this webinar today. Thanks to Gajera School and the group of schools. I hope the students and teacher and everyone will take active part, and I will be of help to you. Shall I continue? Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so today's topic is biodiversity, and as students must be already studying regarding biodiversity, and biodiversity is nothing but the different type of life forms found on our earth, and there are a lot of life forms in our surrounding, and biodiversity will include all the life forms like animals, birds, fishes, the different kind of plants in our surrounding. And in today's world, when we are living in very congested cities, we don't see a lot of biodiversity. But as soon as we go out of the city or in suburbs, we will start looking at different biodiversity. And I will like to tell you that I am trying to help the biodiversity in a lot of different ways, and all of you can try to protect biodiversity and see that biodiversity does not vanish from our cities. Like even in our cities, there are biodiversity. Like you can see some birds, you can see insects, you can see different kind of trees in your surrounding. If you go into the nearby park, you will see a lot of different trees and insects, as well as birds. This is all part of our biodiversity. And I am lucky that I am staying on a farm, and I have tried to increase the biodiversity in my surrounding. Like I have planted trees since last 20 years on the farm. When I bought the farm, it was not having a single tree. It was totally barren place. Today there are more than 750 full grown trees which are more than 60 70 feet high, and there are about 30 to 40 different fruit trees, and I can see about 30 different variety of birds, 40 variety of butterflies, lots of insects on my small property, which is say around 12,000 square meter. It is a small like island in the city, full of trees. If somebody takes a photo from the top, nothing is visible on the ground. It is just green cover. And I have built a eco-friendly house within this premises. And here also, I am trying to create the house which has been created has very small impact on the environment. Like I don't use power from outside. I don't need a water connection. I don't need gutter connection. All this I have built by using the things which are available on the premises. Like I am using sunlight for making my power. I am collecting the rainwater for my use full year around, and the wastewater which is going out of my house is recycled by special method which I have created, and by this I am encouraging to have less pollution, less power is consumed, and I will show you a small video later on, which will show you all the different methods I have used in my house, so that there is less carbon footprint and biodiversity is also preserved. Like how you can do something to preserve the biodiversity, like wherever possible, if you can plant a tree and take care of it. And also when you plant a tree, you should first select the variety which will provide food to our birds, butterflies and insects. This way you are going to create greenery, you are going to get oxygen. At the same time, other living things are also going to have they are going to get food from the trees what you are planting. And also you can plant small vegetable garden on your rooftop or on your balcony. For those who don't have place to plant a tree, you can grow small shrubs on your terrace garden, rooftop or in your balconies. And you can also see that you don't throw out biodegradable waste from your kitchen. Like daily we have a lot of fruit peels or vegetables which are say rotten, or some other form of trash which is biodegradable. This can be biodegraded on your own premises, in your balcony or terrace. If you can see 3-pot composting method, it is showing that the green waste which is being thrown out from your houses is actually right now it is ending up in the landfill, and the landfill size is increasing. You may not be knowing, but our landfill, the Surat landfill, which is situated at Khajod, is more than 500 feet tall, 800 feet long, and 700 feet wide. And in summer, usually this landfill is on fire, and a lot of pollution is created by this fire, and people staying in the surrounding are suffering due to the waste which we are throwing out. And if all of us try to collect this biodegradable waste and compost it in your house or in your society common plot. It can be converted into green manure, organic manure, which can be used in your kitchen garden or in the nearby garden, and it will not be wasted. So there are so many things which every one of us can do. This will ultimately help biodiversity as well as it will help the environment. So I hope I have helped you in giving you various ideas. Samashti, I will like to show you a video now about my house, which is showing the different kind of ideas I have put into practice.
Visit to Eco Home in Surat. Let us have a look at some of the points incorporated in this house to make it eco-friendly.
I think someone's mic is on unmute.
This piece of land was not having a single tree 20 years back, and now there are more than 600 trees of 120 varieties. All the trees grown in this premises are selected in such a way that they provide food for birds, bees, and butterflies. Solar and wind power is used to electrify the house. 8 kilowatt of power is generated from rooftop solar panels and wind turbine. The angle of roof is designed in such a way that the panels can be directly fitted on them. Battery bank is used to store power. A rooftop solar power is used to charge the electric car. All lighting in this house is with LED for minimum power consumption and electrical gadgets with high efficiency rating. There are large windows in all the rooms to use natural light. This house has rooftop water harvesting system. Rainwater is collected from roof in water tanks kept on the first floor for directly using on ground floor living area without using the power to pump the water back to the overhead water tank. Excess rainwater from the first floor rainwater storage tank is diverted to groundwater tanks of 2 lakh liters capacity. It is filtered through sand, gravel, and charcoal before it reaches these tanks. From here, it is pumped to fresh water tank on the top of the house, and this water is used throughout the year. After the rainwater tanks get full, excess water is diverted into the ground. Bathroom, wash basin, and shower water is collected separately and passed through 3-tub root bed treatment. Here, in the first tub, henna plants are grown in sand. In second tub, water hyacinth and duckweed plants are kept, and in the third tub, umbrella and lily plants are grown. There are fish in the water to keep mosquitoes away, and their staying alive also indicates that there is enough oxygen in water which is used for growing organic vegetables. Washing machine water is collected in a separate tank, and from here it goes to all the toilet flush. Black water from toilet flush is sent to settling tank, where solid settles down and water coming out from there goes to reed bed for aerobic cleansing and then to organic garden. The windmill pumps water from well for use in the garden. All the walls are cavity walls of exposed bricks to keep heat out in the summer, and it also prevents inside heat from going out in winter. No paint and plastering is done on the walls, so volatile emissions are avoided in the house. The length of chhajjas projecting out of the walls are designed to keep direct sunlight out of the house in summer, and in winter sunlight enters inside the house. Thus, natural air conditioning effect is achieved. A water body is designed between living area and sleeping area, and this also helps in keeping the surroundings cool. The water body has fish and lilies to keep the water clean. Three-chamber plant and sand-based water filter is also built at one of the end of the pond. All bedrooms has windows on three sides for having good cross ventilation. Solar water heater with hot water recirculation system is used so that the water is not wasted. Kota stone is used for flooring and black and yellow stone for walls, which are available locally. Ceramic, granite tiles and Italian marble need lot of energy for manufacturing and transportation, hence they are avoided. The sloping roof of the house is designed in such a way that the rising hot air goes out from the top and cool air enters from the bottom. Also, fans are provided at low level in windows to suck in cool air from outside, and exhaust fans are provided on top side near roof to push hot air out. Special air cooling pipes are run through ground floor water tank area just above the water level with outlets in the room with fan at the end of the pipe. Air enters the pipe at atmospheric temperature and cools down as it passes above cold water. Creepers are used to cover the roof for preventing them from getting hot. There are planters at each level for creating green curtains, and these planters are watered with drip irrigation. Trees are planted on east and west side to protect the walls from direct sunlight. Water sprinklers are fitted on the roof to wash the solar panels and solar water heater tubes to keep their functioning at optimum. Also, it is used to cool down the hot roof slab in summer if required. Organic kitchen waste is composted using 3-pot method and then used in the kitchen garden. 5-pot water filter is used for filtering drinking water. There is no RO filter in the house. Double height is used in drawing room and dining area to prevent heat buildup. Most of the lamp shades are made from bamboo grown in the same premises, and other lamps are sourced from local handicrafts. Door handles are also made from wood harvested from the same premises. Most of the wood used is salvaged wood from demolished old houses. Cane furniture is used to minimize the use of wood, and cotton upholstery is used in place of Rexin to keep it eco-friendly. Minimum lawn is grown in the garden as it consumes lot of water, fertilizer and pesticides. Contour of the premises is done in such a way that all the water is collected in a pond. From there it percolates in the ground. Walls of the house are having cavities specially made for birds to nest. Also, insects are provided housing by making holes in the pieces of wood. So, this was the visit to Eco Home in Surat. Thank you for watching.
I have shown you some points regarding my house and how I am trying to reduce my carbon footprint, and also how I am increasing the biodiversity around my living space. With this, I will keep the floor open for questions. It will be more useful if we go interactive.
Yes, sir, definitely. And your house that you have made, it was really very much beautiful. And everyone, I think the viewers, they liked it. But sir, from my side, I would like to put one question: ki how this house was made and how much time it took?
The house was, it took almost 3 years for making.
Sir, from where you came to this idea?
Pardon?
Sir, how you came to this idea to make such house with so many like thoughts?
Like as such, I am into nature conservation and environment protection since last 35 years. So I wanted to create something which will be like an example so that others can learn about all this from this house. And that is how I collected all different ideas and we first put it in plan. And then as it was being manufactured, lot of new ideas also came into my mind that we kept on implementing.
Okay. Architect and everything of the house was designed by you, or you took the help of some engineers or architect designers?
I gave all the points and what all I wanted the features in the house, and architect was hired to put on the drawing board. Architect was Falguni Desai from Surat, and she is also an environment nature lover. So we could put all the things on this house. Whatever she wanted, whatever I wanted, everything has been implemented in this house.
Actually, when I see that, water body inside the house, so the first thought that came into my mind was ki, because where water body is in the house, so is it cleaning automatically or some labor work is done to clean it?
Yes, it is a very good question. But if you see a village pond, nobody is cleaning a village pond. So I have followed the same method. I have studied the ponds in villages and I have seen that there is vegetation in the pond, and almost 30 to 40% of the pond water and the periphery of the lake are normally covered by green vegetation. And the same thing I have done in my pond. In my pond, I have created around 30 to 40% green area by putting pots into the water, and I have grown lily and other plants which can grow in water. These plants are cleaning the water as well as they are adding oxygen into the water. And when just to keep mosquitoes away from the water. There are fish. Fish is added into the water. Fish will eat away the mosquito larvae. Also, there is a turtle in the water. The turtle will eat away the any dead fish or any dead thing in the water will be eaten away by turtle. And then there are lots of birds in the surrounding. The birds also come to eat away any dead fish or anything which is leaking in the water is being eaten away. So natural cycle has been set, and that is how this pond is just like a natural pond. I don't use any chemical in this water. It is all natural.
Okay, it is all natural because so many trees are there surrounding the house and water body is there inside the house. Then the questions were like mosquito issues can be there, then cleanliness of water issue, but you have cleared everything. And now I would like to request the audience and viewers, they can ask their questions. Yes, sir. So let me first take the question of Ms. Kamini Patel. Can you explain the 5-layered water cleansing process used for drinking?
Yes, actually, it is what we call 5-pot method. These are all copper pots, around 5 to 6 liter water they can hold, and they are having small holes on the bottom side, very small pinhole. In the first pot, I am filling up water. You can fill up municipal water also in this pot. In the second pot, there are the charcoal which is made up of coconut. It is coconut shell charcoal. When water is percolating through coconut shell charcoal, E. coli bacteria and other germs are being destroyed in the from the water. Charcoal is very good material for destroying bacteria. The third pot is having marble chips. When water is coming down from the mountain, when it is flowing in a water stream, it is hitting the rock and it is absorbing mineral. Same way when it is passing through this pot, which is filled with marble and limestone chips, a lot of minerals are being added into this water. And the fourth pot is having sand. It is pure white black sand, which is river sand. Even if you see the water coming in our city is normally pumped up from the river bed below the sand. Sand, the very fine particles of sand will not allow dust to go in. It is filtering out very fine dust particles. And the last pot is having a silver vessel or a silver coin. Silver material is also killing germs and bacteria, and it keeps the water pure for a very long time. Even in Egyptian times, silver was used for keeping for water pure for a very long time. And the copper material, the pots are made up of copper, which is also adding elements into the water. This way, I am getting very clean water without any requirement of power. No water is wasted, and water is having all the essential minerals which human body needs. When we are drinking water from a RO water filter, all the essential minerals are removed. That is why people are having a lot of different disease due to mineral deficiency. So if you follow this type of water filter, you will not have mineral deficiency. You don't waste water. You don't need power. And if you want more detail, it is available on my video channel. Tripod water filter is there on my video channel. You can also look up over there.
Actually, sir, one question is maximum repeated, and I know that answer. Okay, is AC required at your home? So by seeing the architect, I feel that yeah, definitely AC is not required. The AC is
Yeah,
cool
it is not.
automatically.
It is
So,
there only in the guest room because guests they don't want to tolerate any heat or any cold, and they want AC. But normally it is used. The AC in the guest room is hardly used for 10 to 15 days, and that too only if we have guests. Otherwise, we don't need any AC because it is all green and there are a lot of elements which are keeping my house cold. And a lot of this ideas can be implemented in a new house, or some of them can be implemented even in an old house.
sir, rainwater harvesting idea is so good. Now, I would like to request Mrs. Shweta Parihar to address few questions. Madam, up to you.
Yes.
Shashi ma'am, you can please take the question. I can't see it on my wall.
Okay, it is in the comment section. Let me. Okay, sir. Another question is from Jalpa, madam. What practices should be made to reduce CO2 emission?
CO2 emission can be reduced in many different way. If we see our lifestyle, like when we are staying on say second floor or third floor or fifth floor, the moment you step out of the house, most of the people are using lift. Now they are used to using lift for climbing up or going down, even from third or fourth floor. But if you use the staircase, you are saving power. Power is coming from thermal powerhouse in Surat City, and we are burning charcoal over there, which is after all burning CO2. Next moment you go to your school or anywhere to the nearby shopping place, how are you going? Are you walking or are you going on a two-wheeler or on a car or you are taking auto rickshaw? If you can take the smallest mode of transport, if you can go walking, your carbon emission or carbon footprint will be almost zero. If you go on a two-wheeler, you are going to burn some fuel which is creating CO2. If you go by car, it is going to create more CO2 emission. If you go by a public transport, it will consume less power and less CO2 will be emitted. So all these measures, if we are conscious, we can reduce our carbon footprint to a great extent. Even when we go to the shopping, we bring back plastic bags. But instead of that, if we go with our own shopping bag and don't bring the plastic bag home, we are going to create we are going to save in reducing the carbon emission because all plastic bags are made from petroleum products and all that is consuming a lot of energy. So we have to be conscious and just see each and every step we are taking. Like in the house, if the fan is on when we are not in the room, it is again uh, ultimately emitting CO2 not in your house but through the powerhouse. When we use AC and we put 20-degree or 22-degree temperature, we are unnecessarily uh, cooling the house or room much more than required. Comfortable zone is 24 to 26. If we can maintain our AC at 24 to 26, less carbon will be emitted.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Shweta ma'am, up to you.
Yes, Shashi ma'am. Sir, we are receiving n number of questions related to your house. So I'm very sure that after this webinar, you are going to receive many requests who want to peep in your house, who want to visit your house. So the
Sure,
next,
sure.
thank you, sir. The next question, which I will take of Miss Shilpa Patra. She wants to know, does this concept requires any technical knowledge and expertise? Please guide some initial ideas for the beginners.
As such, expertise is not required, but some little bit of knowledge should be there, like how to protect your house from heat. Like we have made walls which are hollow, so it becomes insulator. And on the east side, west side, we have planted trees and creepers. So direct sunlight is not falling on the house. So there are a lot of other points like this which has to be kept in mind when the house is being designed. And suppose the house is already existing, then you can plant trees or creepers on the east and west side so that direct sunlight will not fall on your house and house will remain cool. There are many this kind of small inputs which can be used for creating a eco-friendly house. All this is now available on internet also. You have to just do some research and you can communicate with people like me who are interested in all this. We can help you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mr. A.V. Patel. The question is, what are the best trees outside forest species that helps in biodiversity conservation, carbon sequestration, and promoting rural livelihood? Question from Mr. A.V. Patel.
Which are best trees? What
Which are
was
the
the
best?
question?
Yeah, sir. I'll repeat the question. Which are the best trees outside the forest
Okay.
species that helps in biodiversity conservation, carbon sequestration, and promoting rural livelihood?
Actually, the best trees are our native local trees. Like for biodiversity, trees like banyan, peepal, umber, uh, bakul, ashok, they are all our native trees. Then our fruit trees like billy, mulberry, this Ryan, falsa, this kind of trees are useful for bird life as well as butterfly life. Now, if you are considering even from the economic point of view, then our forest trees like teak tree, sesame, they are very good when they are living. They will provide food to insects and butterflies and birds. When they are grown up, they can be harvested and people can earn money out of it. But if you plant eucalyptus or saru, which are non-native, they will grow and provide income to the people, but they will not be useful as biodiversity. They are not going to provide food to our native birds and butterflies. So, whenever you are doing agroforestry, people should consider plant a variety of trees which are beneficial to environment, to the biodiversity, that is to insects, bird life. And when they are mature, they can be cut and they can be sold as firewood or for furniture also it will be useful.
That's great, sir. Next question is of Mr. Deepesh Lakhani. What are the factors that teach us about the benefits? The question is on your screen, sir.
Yes. Like insulation to the house, insulation to the house, like what I have done is I have used creepers and trees for shading my house, and the walls are hollow from inside so that it does not get heated up. And also green creepers are there which does not allow direct sunlight to enter into my house. This is the insulation I have used in my house. But nowadays, the Magicrit blocks are available, which are having microporous cavity, air cavity inside the blocks. If you use this block, they will also provide very good insulation to your house. Your house will not get heated up. Instead of RCC wall, the Magicrit blocks are creating more insulation for the modern houses.
Correct, sir. Next question, let me take of Nikita Dhruval Patel. She is asking what is the best methodology to calculate carbon footprint?
Actually, there is no best methodology for calculating carbon footprint, because these are concepts developed by different institutes, and answer to this question you will get on internet. There are so many formulas and different kind of methods for implementing and calculating. It will be difficult for me to explain all this. Just look up on the net, you will get the answer for carbon footprint.
Okay. This question is maximum asked by the people. Okay, what is the methodology to count this carbon footprint? This is actually the thing you were explaining about.
Yes.
Next question is of Anjana. Is there any oxygen released plant which we can keep in our house?
All the plants which are called indoor plant, which requires less sunlight, they can be planted into your house. They will all give out oxygen. Any green plant. And if you have sunlight coming into your house even for 2-3 hours, it is enough. And if you don't have sunlight but just bright light, then you can plant indoor plants which do not require sunlight at all, and they will also give oxygen. But only thing is you have to take care of them. They need lot of water, as they are indoor plants. They cannot withstand heat. So during summer time, daily you have to water them. That is all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. The next question is from Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. Sir, any kind of government subsidy available or any kind of permission is required for this kind of house, for building this kind of house?
Actually, you don't need any government subsidy to make this kind of house. If you are building your own house with your own fund, similar house can be made. But definitely for the solar power, government subsidy is available up to 40%. So if you want to harvest solar energy on your roof, definitely government subsidy is available. But for no other item, any subsidy is available. But if you yourself, when you are making a house with your own funds, you have to just select proper material. They will be cheaper as well as more environment friendly. Like the furniture in my house is made from cane. You can see the furniture. This is cane. It is not wood, or it is not any synthetic resin, like the modern furniture which people are bringing are all made in China, and they are synthetic material, artificial material, which will decay after say 5 years. Within 5 years, the modern Chinese furnitures are deteriorating, and you have to throw them away. They may be cheap initially, but they are not long lasting. If you go for furniture which is made from cane or bamboo or from recycled wood, it is going to last you long. It is going to create less harm to the environment. And ultimately, if you see the cost which you incur, say at the end of 10 years, the our own furniture like cane wood furniture, second hand recycled wood furniture will be more economic. You don't have to have leather or resin on your furniture or sofa. You go for cotton based sofa. A cover on the sofa can be cotton. It can be a cotton cushion. It will last you long. It will be. It will give you cool effect when you sit on resin or foam furniture. It is heating up your body because it cannot absorb your body heat. Only cotton can absorb your body heat. You should keep all this in mind when you are making your house or when you are having new furniture in your house.
Thank you. Thank you for this insightful answer. Next question I'll take off Ms. Sumitra Tutukumar Patra. She want to ask that how do you practice biodiversity in apartment? That is, everyone can't afford his or her own garden. So how we can do when you have a limited area?
Like nowadays people go out and feed the birds or they feed the cattle and all that, but in my view we should try to protect our native species of birds and butterflies. I am very much against people feeding the pigeons or people feeding stray dogs. We are unnecessarily increasing the number of stray cattle or the pigeons. Pigeons are not getting their own natural diet. Nowadays in cities, people are overfeeding them by feeding jowar. Don't feed jowar. Instead of that, you feed bajri and kanki, the broken rice. Then our native species of birds, which are sparrows, they will come back. You can feed rotten or overripe these fruits like banana or papaya. If you just leave this outside in your terrace or in your balcony, our native species of birds like koil, bulbul, mynas, they will come to feed. And these are our biodiversity, part of biodiversity. You can feed the squirrel like the groundnuts. You can give groundnuts. Squirrel will come to eat all this. You can put small pots which are having native plants, flowering plants, which will attract butterflies. This way, you can help our biodiversity even by staying in an apartment or a flat. So many different kind of small flowering plants are available. Put them in your balcony, put them in your terrace. Take care of them. This will help biodiversity.
Thank you, sir. Next question, let me take off Mr. Meet Gajera. He is asking, looking into discussion on climate change and global warming across the globe, is there any reason for to reverse the charge?
Actually, we are all responsible for global warming. Uh, how many people are there who are not traveling by a private vehicle? It can be a two-wheeler or four-wheeler. Whenever there is a public transport available, if we use the public transport, our carbon footprint is going to reduce. If we use the smallest vehicle available in our house, our carbon footprint will reduce. If we use less AC, if we can tolerate little bit of heat and try to use AC only when the climate is intolerable, we will help in reducing the carbon footprint. Don't uh, use and throw away items like tissue paper, throw away dishes like thermocol dish, plastic dish. All this is being thrown away and they are burning. People burn them and it goes into the landfill. Over there they are burning. And this burning of plastic or thermocol is adding to the global warming gases, greenhouse gases. So if we stop using throwaway items, if we don't bring items into our house which are going to be used once and are going to be thrown away, if we practice this kind of practices, then global warming can definitely reduce. Whenever you have facilities for planting trees, you plant the trees and take care of it. It will reduce global warming. If you cannot do this in your neighborhood, you help an NGO, you join the NGO, which is planting trees and taking care of planted trees. You can support them financially. You can support them voluntarily. Go on holidays and help in watering the plants. This can be your contribution in reducing global warming.
Correct. Well explained, sir. Next question. Let me take of Madhu Mistry. Sir, how long this house can help us improve our planet?
How long these houses can help us to improve our planet? Like as I told you, this house does not require power from outside. I am using solar power. So a normal house of 2 or 3 bedroom and say 5 or 6 people staying in the house will maybe 3 to 4 thousand per month, depending upon the use of your AC or how many refrigerators you are using. And all this is emitting carbon throughout the life of the house, or whenever people are in the house, emitting it is consuming power and emitting CO2. My house is not emitting any CO2, or whatever the gadgets I am using in my house. Due to that, no carbon is being emitted. Even my car is electric. I am using solar power for charging my car battery. That way, I am reducing my carbon footprint, as well as I am helping the planet environment it is getting improved.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Truly inspirational. The next question is from Mr. Paras Bogra. According to research, radiations are affected in bird breeding power, but why the pigeon breeding power is increasing? The question is on your screen, sir.
Yeah, actually, radiation of tower, I think he is meaning. There is no 100% research that radiation from tower of mobile are affecting bird life. Actually, it is the urban city, the landscape, which is changing our urban landscape. There is no open ground available in our urban cities. There is concrete everywhere. Even in our apartments, even our schools, in our societies, everywhere there is paver blocks being spread on the ground for increasing bird life other than pigeon. As I told you earlier, we are feeding the pigeons artificially. Lot of food, bajra, jowar is given to the pigeon. They are getting free food. And the design of our modern apartments are giving them places for breeding, and our city environment is very suitable for birds like pigeon to breed. That is why their population is increasing. But birds like sparrows, quails, they need open spaces. They need food from ground. They need food from trees. Birds like parrots, birds like bulbul, quail, they eat small fruits and berries, but this kind of trees are now not available. Sparrows are eating insects from the ground, but there is no open ground available. Everywhere we have paver blocks. Even due to paver block, water is not percolating into the ground. Our groundwater level is constantly going down, and we have borewell everywhere. We are taking out water, but how many people are putting water back into their borewell? I will request everyone who is using borewell water should put in monsoon water back into the borewell. It is not very costly. People are waiting just for subsidy. If government gives subsidy, only then we will do it. That is wrong. If you have money to bore a well, take out water, you are enough rich just to spend another 10,000 rupees and divert water from your premises into a bore well. It will improve the groundwater. It will improve our biodiversity. If the groundwater level comes up, more trees will grow. They need water from the ground. But we are disturbing the natural biodiversity by covering up all the earth. Next question.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Ronak Patel. What concrete steps to be urgently taken towards a low carbon footprint? I think I want to ask that what steps should be taken to lower down our carbon footprints. I know there are many, but if you can just brief 2 or 3 points which can be helpful in day-to-day life.
Like just some time back, I told you the moment you step out of your house, we are using energy. Even in our house, we are using a lot of energy. Everybody has to think how to use less energy, how to create less pollution, how to use less plastic, how to use less throwaway items, how to increase the green cover. Wherever there is a place possible outside your house, try to plant a tree and nurture it. See that cattle do not eat away that tree, and see the which variety of tree you are planting. It should be beneficial to our biodiversity. It should be our native tree. Take care of that tree. If you cannot plant a large tree, there is less place available. Select a tree which will remain small, but start growing a tree. Everyone should, if everyone plants one tree, definitely the global warming will reduce.
Thank you so much, sir. As we are running a short of time and there are lots of questions, and definitely, but we will be thinking to arrange something else for it now. So thank you so much, sir, that you hooked up us with rich information of our richest asset of the world, that is nature, which preserve every scrap of biodiversity as priceless, where we learn to use it and come to understand what it means to humanity. Let me plant the seed of happiness, hope, success, and love, and in this situation, adopt the pace of nature, and her secret is patience. And I think we have covered all the questions. And sir, is there anything else you want to cover before I wrap up?
No, actually, after the COVID, I can invite whoever wants to see this house. They are most welcome to see. Normally on Saturdays, I allow people to come and visit my house. That is my holiday. And even if you want, we can have programs in your school where we can have an audio visual. We can exchange ideas with your students and teachers.
Thank you so much, sir. This is actually will be very, a happy thing for us. So I think the conclusion of this session is that biodiversity is the greatest treasure we have. Its diminishment to be prevented at all cost. I hope I'm right, sir. Now I
Yes.
would like to request Mrs. Shweta Parihar for vote of thanks. Up to you, Shweta, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to express our profound gratitude to Mr. Snehal Patel for sharing a life-enriching information with us. Sir, you have even given us the opportunity to visit your house virtually. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. A big thank you to Gajera Trust trustees, Shri Chukmibhai Gajera and Ms. Kinjal Gajera, for their determination to bring sustainable change in the society. The session has received many likes and positive comments. Thank you all viewers for watching. I hope the session will inspire many in the future and will have many more green leaders like Mr. Snehal Patel. Thank you, sir. This is Ms. Shweta Parihar signing off. Stay safe, stay motivated. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, sir.